Good day and welcome. I'm Yolanda Martins, and today we take a virtual tour of the globe. Are you ready for some global planning? With me is CEO of RIG Advisory Services, Willem Lategan. Willem, welcome.
Hi, Yolanda.
Give us a bit of an insight to your approach.
It's great to have the viewers with us. And we basically take four angles to global planning. The first is global investment planning, then also global business planning, then global estate planning, and then in the last instance, something that's becoming increasingly popular, and we deal with that more and more, is investments, but where we get citizenship through investments. And the challenge here is to integrate these different dimensions of the planning that makes a sensible whole, if I can put it that way.
So what services do you offer when it comes to diversifying investments, especially offshore?
So let's take the first angle. When we talk investments, RIG Advisory Services are primarily an investment planning firm. So we try to help our clients to increase their global exposure in their portfolios. I mean, it can be somebody who contributes 500 rands a month to a tax-free savings account. You don't have to do that in a bank and be exposed to South African risks or South African assets only. Your tax-free savings account can be 100% invest overseas. You can take 30% exposure through your retirement funds. If you're already retired, you can take more than 30% offshore exposure. You can have all your funds exposed offshore, if that makes sense in your specific circumstances. So there's many different aspects that one has to take into consideration in international or global investment planning. For more complex type of solutions and more sophisticated clients, you can even do trading on the balance sheet of the bank, and you can limit your capital gains tax exposure by those kind of investments.
So let's say I want to start exporting my goods or start up an international office. How do I go about that?
Yeah, this is the second angle. After looking at global investments, we look at international business planning. And here it's different for every client. I think the first important thing here is to understand what's the requirements of the Reserve Bank. They've got very specific rules in setting up international businesses. And then also the South African Revenue Service wants to make certain that we don't erode the South African tax base. So when you set up a business internationally, it's very important that you actually have a real business internationally, but not just a shell of a business, but a real business that's effectively managed and controlled, not from South Africa, but abroad, and that there's economic substance, to your business. You have real people working in your business, and you deliver real goods and services in that international office of your business. One thing that clients must be very careful here, especially if they export goods and services, is not to transgress transfer pricing rules. That is something very important. But it's all about building healthy, strong international businesses. And I think a lot of South Africans are beginning to do that, and we can be very proud of them.
So what about international estate planning?
Yeah, here we're basically talking wills and trusts, and in the broader globe this becomes more complex. So you can decide whether you're going to do one will and deal with your worldwide assets in that one will, or whether you're actually going to make a will for each and every jurisdiction. So let's say you've got assets in France and in the UK, whether you're actually going to do a South African will, a UK will, or a France will. That's careful cross-border planning that needs to be done there. When we look at trust, we normally use trust for bigger clients, global trust, offshore trusts. Clients make a lot of mistakes in the ways that they fund these trusts, but we can also use trust for smaller clients. We use umbrella trusts, and we don't incur the full costs of a trust. And we typically fund these trusts through global life policies, non-domestic policies, or life wrappers. That works well for smaller clients. So the world of international estate planning is a complex world, but more and more South Africans do have exposure internationally. Their children go and live overseas and work abroad and study internationally. So it's important to get this right.
So what about alternative citizenship? Is that attainable through investment?
Yeah, there's definitely options, in that, and we find that more and more clients are looking at that, but for a lot of different reasons. So, some of the reasons are that people feel exposed in South Africa through the high levels of crime, and they're just looking for a safer alternative. People relocate because of their work. We find older people, a granddad that instead of leaving a big estate to his children and his grandchildren, rather want to give them a second passport that they can, through that, explore the broader world. So it's important to understand the difference between citizenship and residency. Certain programs only give you residency, other programs, do give you citizenship, but a whole new world opening up for South Africans. Yeah.
So where do South Africans immigrate to?
Well, these are the typical places that we know well. They go to New Zealand, to Australia, to the UK, to Canada. Those are the popular places. But increasingly finding interest in places like Portugal, Cyprus, Malta, even in the Caribbean, places like Grenada. So a lot of different places that South Africans are exploring.
Where can viewers contact you, Willem?
Yeah, I think one thing, just as a warning when it comes to these citizenship through investment kind of programs, people must be very careful not just to look at the glossy brochure and buy a property investment. The citizenship through investment must basically form part of their whole global planning, where they integrate the investment planning, their business planning, their estate plan, and then also the citizenship or the residency planning. So clients can contact us. They can visit our website at rig.ac. They can email us at info.rig.ac. They can call us on 086 12 21 777. We've got a very exciting new online learning platform called the School of Wisdom for Wealth. So there's a free online course on global planning in Afrikaans and English, so people can explore that. If you complete that, we actually give you a certificate. So that's a great one to do. But I think there's a lot of learning, more in-depth learning in the online platform.
Well, thank you very much for your time today, and thank you for joining us.